Hi guys, it's Amanda, your registered dietitian nutritionist and food sensitivity expert. Today I'm going to talk about why I did not want to know what my food sensitivities were. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have noticed a picture of me lovingly and very saddeningly looking at a bean burrito with a board that says why I didn't want to know what my food sensitivities were. And that's because I was really scared that a food that I absolutely loved and adored was going to come back as a food that I was sensitive to. And guess what? It did. That burrito, specifically bean burritos, are like something I could just straight up live off of. And when I did my food sensitivity testing, it turned out that I was sensitive to beans, and I was left like just crushed. And I was like, that's exactly why I did not want to know what my food sensitivities were. I mean, I could, like the Del Taco bean burritos with the red sauce, oh my god, those are like my favorite. And so, I think a hard step for a lot of people is being ready and wanting and willing to know that there are foods that they might absolutely love that could come back on their test as a food that gives them symptoms like digestive symptoms or skin problems or contributing to their inflammation, which contributes to their arthritis. And so that's, I think, a huge barrier. It was a barrier for me personally, and I know it's a barrier for a lot of people, is do you even want to know? And are you ready to know? So I think a lot of people think food sensitivities are about restriction, and they're about taking away all these foods and only living off of a couple foods that you weren't, quote unquote, like symptomatic to. And that is not what food sensitivities are about. Food sensitivities are about empowerment. It's about knowing the foods that do and don't work for your body and living a life where you have that knowledge, where you can comfortably know that if you look at a plate of food, this does work for me, this doesn't, and being able to make that decision is really, really empowering and gives so much confidence to people. But again, you have to be ready and willing to make, some changes when you get your tests back. So one big goal for my clients and one big goal for me was to get to a point where I was eating a lot of different foods, a lot of variety. So going back to that idea that food sensitivities are about restriction, that is not the case. My end goal when working with my clients, when I was working on myself, was to get to a point where I was confidently managing my food sensitivities and eating a wide variety of food, because I don't know if you know this about me, but I literally became a dietitian because I love food, and I want everyone around me to love food as much as I do, which is why I actually like working with food sensitivities, because when people have food sensitivities, they often don't love food because they just don't know what foods, like they just know food is not making them feel well. And there's ways where we can uncover what foods aren't making you feel well, and we can uncover what foods do make you feel well. So another common misconception about food sensitivities, which I think a lot of people have this, is that they think food sensitivities are like a life sentence, that once you have a food sensitivity, like it's a food allergy and you're never ever supposed to eat that food. And that is not always the case. You can come to a point where food sensitivities, where you can have these foods and comfortably eat them. Food sensitivities are quite tricky. They're dose dependent and they're delayed. So what does dose dependent mean? It means that you can probably have a little bit of it and be totally fine. But if you were to have a little bit of it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day of the week, then that's probably going to be a problem. You're going to come to a point where you've like reached your max and your body's like, okay, we've had our fun. Let's go ahead and slow it a bit down. So food sensitivities are not a life sentence. It's not about restriction. It's about empowerment, feeling confident in your choices, and knowing that you're doing what is best for your body. So if you're kind of confused on food sensitivities, what is it? What does it look like? How do you kind of get to a point where you can manage them and eat foods you might be sensitive to? Check out or download my freebie cookbook, and it has some tip sheets in there about what food sensitivities are, or DM me. I love when people like reach out to me because I want to help you guys and serve you guys the best that I can. So yeah, that's a little bit about my story about why I was lovingly looking at a bean burrito, just like, why? But now I can eat bean burritos with confidence. I know my limits. Have a good one, you guys.